Yeah, let's start. Yes, yeah. Yes, screen is visible.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Okay. So till now, any question, any doubt in the last, any vulnerability in any code?
No, correct.
Okay. Okay. So yes. So let's continue with our that last at the last, as we will discuss that all about the file uploading related attacks, where we discussed that how we can secure that the file upload attacks, where we will see that how that we can give the fixed extensions and all. Now today that we are going to discuss that all about the broken authentication related issues. So let me just all right. Okay, so today that we are going to discuss that about the broken authentication. We will discuss that we can see like how we can secure the issues from the broken authentication and how it was work. So first of all that we can discuss that about the what is the broken authentication and how it was implemented in a code level, right, in a PHP mechanism, how it is, what was the mechanism of the authentication related code and how it was work. So the first of all, as we can see that the broken authentication, as we know, is it is a process where that we can just give that over the identity. Typically, that we can give our identity through a credential, such as like a username and the password. So it is depending on our requirement. There are the several authentication mechanism that are available in the any application, like how it was me- which mechanism was implemented in our the web application, any of them. So if are not correctly, like if it is not implement correctly, so in that case this authentication mechanism can expose that the vulnerabilities that attacker can exploit to get access to our system. So basically in authentication that we have the different type of the mechanism. For example, like we can say that is when we can log in from the username and the password. And in authentication there are the many issues are also are there. For example, like the with the help of the session also, sometime that the attacker able to log in onto the application using the brute force attack, also using that the SQL injection also, right, using that the payload, malicious payload also that the attacker use sometime to take the access of any application and all, right. So there are the different type of the mechanism, different type of the prevention code are also available. So SQL related thing that we will discuss in SQL injection, because here that we can implement with SQL query and then we can go into the secure it. So first of all, as we know that the user credentials was stored in a password, and the password mechanism that we are already discussed, right, like how that we can secure that the password which was stored in a database, right, in our the password related issue. We already discussed that how we can secure that the password with the help of the password hash and the password decrypt is algorithm that we are use. So there is also that the one of the mechanism for the broken authentication, because password is also the part of the broken authentication, as we know. So here there are the different type of the things that you remember in your mind when you review the application for broken authentication. First is that uh, related to the input field. As we know that is there is the some input field mechanism, and in an input field we know like we need to give that the proper validation, proper filtration that we are going to use in the any input field that we have. So first of all, that we can see that the source code relating to weak authentication functionalities, and here are the some implementation, or we can see that the broken business logics, where we can see first of all that we know like the authentication is a key line of the defense, is protecting that the non-public data and some sensitive functionality. So in a broken authentication, the first thing is that about that the weak password and the password functionality. So weak password and password functionality, basically this one is also that the part of the broken authentication, because as a in a code level that we know that we are securing the authentication mechanism, but as we know authentication mechanism are implemented through the like a username and the password that we know onto the login page. So when we have any login page or any of the input parameter which is taking the credentials and performing some kind of the authentication, so in that case we can say the first important thing that we keep in our mind is weak password and password functionality. That means like password length, right? And the password should be in a complex composition, like is always having that some special characters and all. And also that we can see these things are done onto the backend server side of that the application. When we submit the password is all like a new password also. For example, when you sign up onto the any application, then you give that the new password, or if you change that the password, so in that case you also give the new password. So the best approach is that use the password hashing. That thing already that we are discussed how we can secure that the password with the password hashes, how we can implement it. So the first thing is that we can see weak password and password functionality. And in a password related mechanism, logic code that we use is called that the regular expression. Okay, I will show you that today regular expression also. So regular expression, it having the fixed pattern of the password, right? For example, like if the password having that the special character, at least it having that the capital letter, small letter and all. So this is called the regular expression logic that we implement. Let me just see that in the password. I will create a one more file, is all that about the authentication, that I will write that the auth.php, or let me just implement the regular expression, so regex.php. Okay, so let's see in a regex.php how that the regular expression was implemented. I will just take that the code from a Google. So basically the regular expression having the fixed pattern, right? So let's deeply understand about the regular expression. And this pattern is the same in all language, right? As we know that like in any language only the syntaxes are the change, but the rest of the things, the pattern, the very important thing in the regular expression is the pattern. So the pattern is same in all the language, and the pattern is basically it was created in a JavaScript. Whatever logic that you see that in a regular expression pattern, it was implemented through a regular expression. In case if you want to create your own pattern, not for the password only, if you want to create the regular expression for your, let's suppose for Gmail, let's suppose for the any username, right? Basically all are the patterns are available, and there are many websites are also available and tools are also are available, right? Like what type of the pattern you need, for the user input. Let's suppose sometime where we can see that in or the email parameter, only business email is allowed, not Gmail, not any Yahoo Mail and like that. Only business mail is the allowed. So in that case, that we implement this type of the pattern in the any input field, which is only allow the business mails, right? So in that case, we need to implement the pattern for that. So the pattern you can also create that, but in that case you need to know completely about the JavaScript. And if it is not, if you don't know that about the JavaScript very deeply, so in that case there are the many other tools are also are available, but these all are the part of the development team, not for all the security, right? But yes, for knowledge, sometime it is very important for you, because as we know sometime that we can play like a CTFs type of the things, or tasks are there, some type of the labs are there onto the try hack me are also are available, hack the box and this type of the labs. And in some type of the global exams also like OSWE, right, where you will get this type of the challenges, right? In this challenges you need to create your own cryptographic code, which is are come in a PHP obviously. So in that case these tools are very helpful, right? Otherwise as a source code review, so we can just suggest to a developer that you can use this type of the things for securing that the password and all. Okay, so let's see how that we can validate that the password validation are in all language. Let me see, the first are in a PHP. So this is that the pattern that we have. Okay, so let me just copy this code, and this is that the pattern. Okay, it's simple, I will just copy and paste. Okay, so see, this is that the pattern, and the regular expression pattern having the fixed characters, right? So let's understand this pattern how actually it was work. So here, so this regular expression pattern was give you that the password functionality validation, and you can also validate the password with the help of the some inbuilt functions in a PHP. So this is the first approach, that we use a basic password validation using all the regular expression pattern, and this basic password contain minimum should length be the 8 character. So this is that the parameter which was given to you the minimum length, right? You can also give whatever length you required, for example like 15 if you give. So in that case it was required the 15 character minimum. Okay, so here this 8 is represent that the minimum length, it should be the 8. At least one uppercase letter, here it is, you can see capital A to Z, that is one uppercase, and the small a to z is small lowercase letter, and at least one digit. So and this is that the slash d is for the digit, asterisk slash d is for the digit, and this is the complete symbol of our the regular expression pattern. This is that the first approach, and then we have the one more approach where we have the at least one special character. All the code are the same, only this is that the one more new parameter was added, and this parameter is for what? Is for the at least one special character. So regular expression pattern is start with the slash and the backtick and question mark equals to dot asterisk, and then here, so question mark equals to dot asterisk is for the first parameter, which is for the lower case. Question mark equals to asterisk capital A to Z, that means at least one special character, at least one uppercase letter. Question mark equals to dot slash d, that means is for digit, that means for a special character. and how long password means what was the minimum length of the password. So if you change that the length, then it was required that the length according to us. Okay, so this is that the code which you can see in a PHP. So now let me just implement it and let's see that the password. So basically it was implement in the input field regular expression pattern. So first of all that you just need to find that the where it is input and is this line is implemented or not. So this is the valid password. What was our password? It is gigs for gigs at the rate 123. Alright, if I will write hack, all are complete. Okay, so for more strong also the patterns are available also, right? There the many other patterns are also there for securing that the password. This is that the basic password security, right? Like basic regular expression pattern. Otherwise you can also see that there are the many other patterns are also there. For example, if you want to create your own, so see string length of the password, string length that it was give that the length is between the 8 to the 20 character, password is too short, password is too long and all, right? Then it was include that the at least character and all. So actually that the regular expression pattern, if we see like the how it was work. So in a regular expression pattern we have that the first E to Z, this is that the compulsory that we want, then capital A to Z, and then at least having the one number between 0 to 9, and the last parameter is for the length, right? uh, what was that the length that you want to give, right? So length also we can give it according to us. For example, sometime in some password you can see that the length is the 8 character, 9 character, 15 characters, right? Whatever it is, so you can also give that the length also. So this is a basic pattern for to secure that the password. There are the many other patterns are also are available for that the password for more securing that. Like you can also see sometime what happened, the password is not matched with the username, right? So these all are the things are also there in some cases. So you can also use this type of the patterns also, and basically the regular expression patterns maybe it was implemented in a code level, and if it is not, then we need to use this all are the pattern especially for the password, because basically that the rule is that for when we are securing that the code, so we need to secure all the input validation. So in PHP we have the some input validations also there, and this input validation you can also give with the help of the regular expression in other language. In PHP we have that the functions, right? For example, if I give the name here email is required the proper email, okay, and if I will select any of them and then submit, so you can see it was given to the invalid email format because it was required the proper email format like this. Now once it was done, then you can see it was successfully done and it was just an input field. So here when we are come on to the form validation code, yeah, here it is. So here you can see it was used the simple trim function for that HTML special character that we use into the when we are preventing the cross-site scripting. Then I will explain you in detail what these three functions was do. So in validation, that you can see that we have the different type of the validation. For example, see that here. So here we have the two emails. One is the joy@example.com and second is the bogus. So filter where $email is the variable, and here you can see this is the inbuilt function in a PHP that we have, which was validate email automatically. So this is that the inbuilt function that we can use, filter validate email, which was validate that the email automatically, right? So these validation functions are not available in any other language, like in JSP and in a .NET, that you don't have this inbuilt function. So in that case, to validate that the email in other language, the same thing that we can use is all about the regular expression pattern. Other validation, for example, like if you want to filtering that the validate the IP address, right? Sometime that we can see in a code level that we need to validate that the IP also. So we can use filter validate IP, and then there are any other validation or not. Summarizations are also there, which was summarize that the email in proper format. Okay. Basically that are the yes. So there are the many other functions are available in a PHP, just like validate email. So here we can see that the yes, no, this one is that the filtering the list. Okay, so just like that, we have the some other validation functions are also are available in the PHP, but for validating that the email in a JSP, so in that case, sometime that we use the regular expression pattern for that generally. Let's see that the code. So it was use a logic, email length, email character and all, but it is not a correct way to do that. Yes, see, the first is the regular expression method, second is the Java Mail API, third one is JavaScript validation, which is a popular approach that is used by a developer, but it is a vulnerable because it is used JavaScript validation. So in that case, the attacker was easily perform the cross-site scripting here in case if it is used JavaScript validation, and mostly developer use that the JavaScript validation for email and password. In PHP we have the inbuilt function, but in JSP and the ASP, developers most of the case use the JavaScript validation and custom validation logic also there. This is how it was work, where it was give that the custom validation logic, which is also not secure. From here you can see these two methods are the secure. First one is regular expression pattern, and the second is the Java Mail API. So this two method is considered as like a secure in a Java, and in a .NET also that was used the some kind of API. Okay, so let's see that. Yeah, here you can see implement the email validation in JSP using a regular expression pattern. So see what was the pattern it was used. Just a second. Okay, so the first of all, it was take the request for parameter email. Parameter email means email parameter, email input field from where the user was entered that the email, and then after that you can see the regular expression pattern for email, where you have the at least like A to Z, small a to z, capital A to Z, 0 to 9 maybe, and after that you require the at the rate dot, and then the domain name it is, and if it is valid then it will show you that the email is valid, otherwise it will show you that the email is invalid. JavaScript validation is also done by the regular expression, but it was in a client side, so it is easily attacked by the attacker. It is very easy to um, use that the cross-site scripting here if it is use a client-side code. And the very secure is API validation in a JSP. For that, first you need to import this internet address, right, this one, and then you can use these all are the inbuilt function for that. So this is that the API you need to import first, and then we can use this all are the things are there for the API validation. So generally to secure that the validate the email in a Java, we can use Java Mail API, or the second thing is that you can use that the regular expression pattern for that, for using that the validation. And let's see that the password validation. In the password validation also it was used that the regular expression, basically the pattern was same, right, same pattern that you see in a PHP and the same pattern you see in a Java also. See that the same pattern, the pattern was same, only the change is between in a code. See the same pattern that we use, so you can just use the same pattern in all the language. You can use in a Python, you can use in any language, the pattern was always same. But remember that don't use this pattern in a client side in JavaScript. In most of the case, in most of application, you see that this pattern was used in a JavaScript, and if it is used in a JavaScript, that means it is vulnerable to the cross-site scripting. Attacker can easily perform the cross-site scripting if it is any validation is used in a JavaScript, because JavaScript will support all type of the validation, and for save the time and the effort, developer use the validation in a JavaScript, not in a server side. The developer thing is that the uh, both are the same, but not. It is not same because JavaScript was implemented in a client side, which was vulnerable to the cross-site scripting. With the help of this one, that the attacker injected the cross-site scripting payload. Basically, we can see how we can secure it. But yes, if it is used the validation in a client side, so in that case, it is a vulnerable maybe. We will discuss that how we can secure it for the cross-site scripting also. But before it, the validation is also very important for that. Okay, as we already understand, the one approach is called the defense and a depth approach. This is how it was work. One is that you can use a function, and the second approach is that you can use the thing as a manually and all. Okay, so this is the password. Again, same thing. I don't think that again there need to explanation. So here you can see that the 0 to 9 digit, lowercase character, uppercase character, and all, and this is how it was validated the password and all, right? So this is how actually it was work in a JSP for email and for the password. Okay, so for email You can see these all are the possible ways are there. I think this one is hmm. Okay, so for email, these all are the things are there in a JSP, and for a password, this is that the regular expression pattern in a JSP. For in a PHP, that we have, this is the pattern for the password, securing that the password validation, and for email, we have that the proper validations are there. Okay, if you go here, then you can see that the validate. So these all are the validations. So these all are the some validations that we have. So here you can also encoding the filters also, empty string null also, validate the boolean also, integer also. Yes, so these all are the validation. Unicode email also, validate the IP, IPv4, IPv6. Okay, to send as an input. So in a PHP, it is very easy to use. You can just use that the function of the filtering, and that's it. In JSP, you need to perform that the some of that the logic. So I will share the link in a group for all this for PHP and for JSP. Okay, so the regular expression pattern was same in all. In a Java, you need to import some libraries first for the regular expression, and then we are going to the use. Okay, otherwise we can't do that. Okay, in a PHP we don't need to import any function. It is inbuilt in a PHP, but not in a JSP. In a JSP, we need to import some libraries, and then we're going to the execute it. So this is how it was work in a JSP. So now you have idea like how that the code was work in a multiple languages. So see, the code was same. So same thing like in other vulnerabilities are also, right? This is how that we can discuss in later. So the thing you can see in a different in a JSP, the only the syntaxes. The main thing is that to change the pattern, right? In a password validation or in an email validation. So password validation regular expression pattern was same in both language, PHP also and the JSP also. Alright. The only the thing was changed is in variables, to declaring that the variable is a different in a JSP, in a PHP is a declaring part is a different, right? But the pattern was same. So same thing that you can see in the other vulnerabilities and other issues also. The issues which we resolve using the logical, not with the inbuilt function, which was same in a JSP also, right? So yes, now let's see that in a ASP also quickly how it was implemented in a C sharp. So in a C sharp also that the same C. So the pattern again is was that the same. So there is a no change in any pattern. So pattern is always same in all the language. The thing is change is only the syntaxes. And then the one more thing is that you can see that using system.text regular expression, again here we use that the regular expression pattern library. So the libraries we need to use in both languages, JSP also and ASP also. Then the rest of thing you can see almost same as compared to the JSP. So I will share this C sharp code also for your reference. So okay, so this is how the thing was implemented in the regular expression was implemented in other languages like in a JSP, like in a PHP and all. This is how that we can implement it. So for an authentication, the first part is that the weak password and the password functionality that we can use with the help of the regular expression pattern. And the second thing is that if we take the password from the user, and if the password is not used in a proper hashing format, so in that case it is a vulnerable. So we already see how that we can use the password hashing. So here we also need to use the password hashing also. All right, now then we can see that there are the different type of the attacks in the authentication. This is that the first attack, weak password and the password functionality validation. Okay, weak password validation, I will just write the validation. Next attack was the brute force attack, which we can discuss later on to the next week. And one more is that we can see the insufficient authentication, which was done by the SQL injection payload, right, where it was allowing attacker to access that the website containing with a sensitive content or a function without having the properly authenticate with the website. And this one is done with the SQL injection, so we can secure this type of the thing in a SQL injection. So yes, that's it for a day, that we will discuss that all about the password functionality first. Now the next class that we can discuss that in a broken authentication, how that we can secure for the brute force attack, right? And what was the vulnerability which was related to the authentication. So these things that we can discuss in the next class. Next class means in the Monday. So now if you have any question, any doubt related to this one or any other else, then you can ask me. Otherwise that we can meet on a Monday.